Guess what, my loyal viewers? I, Zak Wolf, have taken a big leap forward now in my Apple Macintosh experience. As after saving up for quite a while for working at a computer tech job and my tax return helped a bit, I finally bought a new Mac laptop. And check out what kind I got. Yep, one of those brand new M1 chip MacBook Airs. I ultimately decided to take the leap into the world of M1 chip Macs, after hearing that they were a lot faster, more powerful than their Intel predecessors. And I opted for the MacBook Air here, because unlike the Intel versions, the M1 MacBook Air is almost as powerful as the M1 MacBook Pro, like maybe 9/10 of the power, or maybe even more than that. A quick rundown. The M1 is Apple's own silicon-based, ARM-based silicon chip for their Macs, similar to the processors they made for their iPhones and iPads and such. Once they realized, since it was working so well on those iOS devices, and the iPad Pro could often be as powerful as a laptop computer, Apple decided to develop an even beefier ARM-based chip for use in their Macs. And the first models with this system, including the MacBook Air here, the baseline 13-inch MacBook Pros, and the Mac Mini came out last November. And they've been praised for how they perform so much better than their Intel predecessors did. This one is certainly more powerful than my quad-core Mac Mini and its Intel Core i7 processor. Also, in all my years of using Macs, this is the first one that I bought new in the box. So all the other Macs I've bought were used or refurbished in some way. But thanks to having a good paying job, I decided the time was right. Especially since my 2012 quad-core Mac Mini can't run macOS 11 Big Sur, and my existing Mac laptop was even older. Ooh. This late 2009 polycarbonate MacBook, which you've seen me show here before. It's heavier than the Air. So I figured I should upgrade to a newer Mac laptop first, and I could still use the Mac Mini as my main desktop for the time being, until Apple comes out with an even beefier version of their processor, as they're still developing an ARM processor more powerful than the M1 to use in their iMacs, Mac Pros, and the higher-end MacBook Pros, and it's rumored that a more powerful Mac Mini using said chip will be part of that. And this is all happening only 15 years after Apple began transitioning from the PowerPC processors in their Macs into Intel processors. What impeccable timing! And this is when Apple also finally moved the macOS up from 10 to 11, with this new ARM-compatible version being called macOS 11 Big Sur, and only 20 years after macOS 10 came out, no less. But to be fair, this isn't too big a change compared to going from macOS 9 to 10, as they basically made it compatible with the newest M1 Macs along with the Intel ones. In fact, let me boot it up for you. I could even just turn it on, like opening it here. Ah. Look at that fast startup time. It's about 2/3 of the start time of a 2012 Mac Mini, which is a solid-state drive replacing its original hard drive, mind you. Okay, let me log in here. There we go. Now, worth notice how the M1 Mac laptops like this, they only have 2 of these Thunderbolt 4 ports, which use the same port style as USB-C, and thus work with USB-C devices. The Intel MacBook Pros currently out right now give you 4 of them, but right now the 2 suit me just fine. You charge the MacBook Air via USB-C, well, I'm going to miss the MagSafe power cables. And if you want to use any regular USB-C devices or any other interfaces, there are a lot of good third-party hubs and adapters out there. which I even find to be more affordable and better designed than some of Apple's own simple adapters. I got this nice little USB-C hub here, made by Falweldy. Falweldy. Look at that. Gives me 3 USB 3.0 ports. It's an HDMI and VGA output, a gigabit Ethernet port, SD and micro SD card slots, a 3.5mm audio in and out jack, and an extra USB-C port for charging a computer. It's pretty much everything I generally need, all in one nice little hub. And the M1 chip doesn't generate a lot of heat. And if it gets a little hot, there's a nice ventilation system in place without need for a fan, so it's nice and quiet. And this MacBook Air is also great for digital media production. Heck, this video you're watching right now, I even edited on the MacBook Air. Since this is a somewhat basic vlog, I edited it on iMovie. But Final Cut Pro 10 and Adobe Premiere Pro CC and Cyberlink Power Director all work pretty well on this MacBook Air as well. Heck, I can even run a Windows XP virtual machine using the UTM virtualization software designed for M1 processor Macs. Oh, there's still a few kinks I need to work out, as I'm still new to that software after being so used to VMware Fusion and VirtualBox for so long. Wow, my Mac using is coming full circle now. But unlike how my first Mac I bought in 2009 was a PowerPC G4 model, and then I bought an Intel Mac 2 years later, I got this M1 MacBook Air almost 5 months after they first hit the market. This is also kind of a symbol of how things have been getting better for me since later last year. Getting that computer tech job with the electronics recycling reselling company and all. And I should also be getting a COVID vaccination soon too. Even if we're not fully finished with the pandemic yet, as the cases have been rising again for a while but seem to be dipping again, thankfully. Even with the vaccines out, I can tell that 2021 is going to overall be a much better year than 2020 was. And so keep watching this YouTube channel to see how that turns out.